What's up guys, Goofy Rexy here. Hope everybody is doing well. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Masters of Evil team here and whether or not they're going to be good outside of Cosmic Crucible. I got the question a couple of days ago here, so I thought, you know what, let's take these 5 characters, let's eliminate everything in their kits that talk about Cosmic Crucible, and let's analyze and see whether or not they're going to be good outside of that game mode. Now let's keep it real here. You're going to have to build this team anyways. Number one, if you want to be competitive in Cosmic Crucible, you're probably going to want to build them anyways. But then number two, you are going to need them for a legendary unlock, which we don't know who that legendary is, but they did mention that in the most recent blog post here. So all the more reason why we want to know, hey, how good is this team going to be outside of their game mode, right? Later on, I am going to also share some concerns that I do have because there's some significant enough buffs that I think that they definitely do lose not being a Cosmic Crucible. Well, that definitely could be a little bit of a concern. And also may even change some ISOs moving forward outside of CC as well. All right, guys, so we're going to start off with Absorbing Man here, and I still think that his kit is going to be pretty good outside of Cosmic Crucible. We're going to jump down to the passive ability. I love this. The Unspawn, Gain Taunt, and 3 Deflect. The team is going to be losing plus 50% max health from Titania's kit. That's huge, right? So being able to have him still taunt, and then with the 3 deflects, because he's also losing that 50% max health as well, then that helps to negate damage from him, but in the taunt negates damage from the rest of the team. But additionally, you're still going to be able to copy and clear 1 positive effect from every character that attacks him. He's still going to be able to gain that +1 defense up to a maximum of 3. And then his passive, if we remember, per defense up on this character, he gains 20% armor and also resistance. So if he has all 3 of those defense ups, that's an increased 60% armor, increased 60% resistance. That's definitely going to help him to be a better tank and be a better be a better taunter. Let's move on. All right, so in terms of his ultimate ability here, he's going to be able to still clear all negative effects from self and then still clear all positive effects from the primary target too. So this is definitely still going to be huge and helpful in my opinion. So pretty good ultimate there. His special is super loaded. So copy and clear all negative effects from all Masters of Evil allies, and he's going to flip those into positive effects on self. Give that 2-turn offense down to the primary target, clear taunt from all allies, and then gain taunt as well. So still valuable, I think, there. Basic ability, copy and clear 2 positive effects. Then also with the primary target has vulnerable, gain 2 deflect up to a maximum of 5. So I think analyzing Absorbing Man and his kit, I like what he's able to do. I still think that he provides, I think in my opinion, maybe the most valuable outside of maybe King the Conqueror might have something to say about that. All right, let's jump into it here. So in terms of King, with his passive, you're still on turn, he's still going to be attacking for 30% piercing, going to be ignoring defense up. He still gives them increased crit chance and then also crit damage as well. It's just a little bit more that you would have gained if he did have his Cosmic Crucible kit, but it still allows some of the characters like Titania and then also for King the Conqueror himself to probably still be run as Raider characters. So you're still getting that value out of Kang too. And then with this ultimate, you're still getting this massive, this AoE damage, right? 300% piercing. I think he's going to be a high damage dealing character. If I'm just thinking about stats, I think they're going to give him some pretty good damage stats here. He's also going to be able to clear 3 positive effects from all of those characters, right? So that's a dispel that's going to be useful, I think, outside. Probably going to want to worry about a little bit about focus. They do lose some of their focus from Moonstone's kit outside of Cosmic Crucible, so that may be a concern. We may have to look at different ISOs for some of these characters, guys, as we move forward here. But this attack does ignore defense up, and then the characters killed by this attack cannot be revived. So if you time this right, if you wait on this one right until when you can actually kill some characters here, this actually may be pretty good if you have anyone that has revive once on the enemy team. And then special, still doing some damage. Whenever he crits, he's going to gain evade and ignoring defense up. A lot of his kit ignores defense up. And then basic here, damage, in the speed bar if they have vulnerable, and then ignoring defense up, and then cannot be counterattacked as well. Let's talk about Moonstone here. Now, I'm not as impressed outside the Cosmic Crucible as I am with the other kits for King and Conqueror and then also Absorbing Man here, but jumping into her passive ability, I mean, she's still going to be able to unturn, gain the evade up to a maximum of 3. She's still going to be able to heal herself for 10%. Still going to gain that barrier for 10%. also going to be able to clear one positive effect from the enemy with the least resistance, and then she's still going to be able to transfer one negative effect, excluding ability block and stun from herself over to the enemy with the least resistance, right? And if we go over to her ultimate ability, she's still going to be able to hit those primary and adjacent targets and get that 2-turn defense down up to a maximum of 3. Her special ability here, she's going to reduce the speed bar of the enemy with the highest damage by 20%, and then mind control them to attack the primary target. And then additionally, she's going to be able to, I actually like her special a lot, be able to do additional damage and then apply defense down and stun to that primary target. I actually think that's pretty sexy. But in the basic ability here, damage, defense down for 2 turns. And then if they have vulnerable, then they're going to also be able to gain 1 ability energy. So I still think that's actually pretty cool and that's pretty good from her kit, but nothing like stands out. But I still think it's a useful enough kit that actually may be kind of sneaky as to the reason why you win the matchup. If you're just not, but it just doesn't look as sexy as some of the other characters that we've looked at so far. Then if we look at Titania actually may hurt a little bit more than the other characters that are a part of this team, and I'll talk about why. If we jump over to her passive here, so on spawn, she's still getting that defense up to herself and then also all Masters of Evil allies. Unturned though, she gains 1 counter up to a maximum of 5. But if we jump down here, she gains an extra 10% crit chance per counter that she does have. Unfortunately, if we look at, I had to pull this up, even though we haven't done it for the other characters. This is Absorbent Man's passive. On Cosmic Crucible offense, he applies 4 counter to a random Titania ally. So if we're looking at the kit right here for Titania, she's gonna be losing, right? How much? I even missed the count on that. She's gonna be losing 4 counters. Well, and she would have ultimately had 5 counters, right? So she would have had an additional 50% crit chance. She's gonna be losing that here outside of Cosmic Crucible, which is probably gonna hurt her ability to do as much damage as she possibly could do over time, right? So now keeping in mind, she's still gonna have, actually no, she's still gonna have the 40% from the Raider ISO if you keep that on her. And of course, there's still additional crit chance that she's getting from King the Conqueror. So she's just not gonna be able to do it at 100% of the time, but she's still gonna be able to do it at a pretty high clip here. So maybe she doesn't hurt as much. Maybe my assessment on that was a little bit wrong here. And she does gain additional crit damage as well per deflect. And then she does give herself an extra 25% max health. But remember earlier, she actually would have had an increased 50% max health inside of Cosmic Crucible, but outside of Cosmic Crucible, her and the rest of the team do not benefit from that. Now, but the rest of her kit though, like her ultimate, still doing damage, still applying ability block, disrupting and heal block. This is still an unavoidable attack that cannot be blocked here. Her special ability, she's still doing damage. She's still going to clear negative effects if she crits. She's still going to be able to copy and clear all positive effects of the primary target. Maybe one of those might be deflect, right, or counter. And then this attack is also unavoidable. She'll also gain defense up, and then basic ability as well. She'll be able to do damage and then clear 1 negative effect from self, also too. So it's still a pretty good kit. I'm just saying that I'm just pointing out what she loses a little bit here with her kit. And then Ultron, so he got a rework literally yesterday. Or additional rework literally yesterday here, but with his passive, you're still going to be able to, if he revives, he gains 75% of his max health here. Whenever he kills, he prolongs all positive effects on this character, and then all Masters of Evil allies, and then all Villain Tech allies by the duration of 1. If he does have 4 or more Masters of Evil, he also does gain an extra 30% crit damage, and of course, he does gain additional crit damage from King the Conqueror as well. His ultimate ability here still does a lot of piercing damage. He's able to gain ability energy per positive effect on himself, which he's always had. He also ignores defense up, which he always has, and enemies killed by this cannot be revived. I'm glad that they actually kept that there. His special, still summoning those minions, still applying, and then now, of course, applying defense up to self and Masters of Evil. So once again, that definitely helps out Absorbent Man's kit. And then primary target here, copying and clearing 2 positive effects, excluding taunt, clear taunt on the primary target and self. And then they did do a little bit of an update to the Fabricator, which is the healing one. Healed the 4 most injured non-Masters of Evil allies for 7,000% health, plus 15% of his character's max health, and then heal self and all Masters of Evil allies for 14,000, and then 25% of this character's max health applied to regeneration for 2 turns. Clear 4 negative effects from self and all Masters of Evil allies. That's pretty clutch. and then fill Ultron speed bar by 25%. So based on what I'm looking at here, I mean, it does look like it's okay, right? It looks like it's definitely okay. What they lose in Cosmic Crucible, though, from Cosmic Crucible, is definitely noteworthy. So if we're looking at King the Conqueror here, if we look at Cosmic Crucible, you're gonna lose the ability to apply slow for 2 turns for the primary and adjacent targets. You're also losing this offense up that he would have been given to the other Cosmic Crucible, those other Masters of Evil allies. Now, still going to be able to ignore defense up, but the offense up is actually kind of big if you kind of look at it from that perspective. With this ultimate ability on offense, you would have been able to clear a barrier, which may not be super important, but the death proof, I think, definitely probably will come in handy if that was the case. In Cosmic Crucible, the reduction of speed bar by 10% for all enemies would have been huge too. The speed up to self and all Masters of Evil definitely would have been also been good. And the unavoidable and cannot be blocked would have also been good, although it does ignore defense up. So I think that that's still helpful too. But the passive, this is a bigger one because you're losing the additional 20% crit chance. You're losing the additional 40% crit damage. That could be big in my opinion. You're still gaining this, I believe. Unless I'm probably wrong on that one. And then on offense, on spawn, you would have gotten the speed up. You would have gotten when enemy gains speed up, fill the speed bar by this character by 10%, additional crit chance, additional crit damage. Moonstone, with her ability, she would have been able to apply trauma, with her special. She would have also been able to apply stun to the primary target with her ultimate ability, as opposed to just doing it with her special ability. She would have been able to do a stun with her ultimate as well, and then also reduce the speed bar of primary and adjacent targets. And then her passive would have been able to give them an extra 50% focus. On offense, they would have gained, she would have gained an extra 100% focus, and she would also give them an extra 100% focus as well. So there's a couple of things that you're definitely missing. And with Titania, I did have her kit somewhere here, and I apologize, I misplaced it here, but the extra 50% the extra 50% max health for the rest of the team, I think would have been large. It would have been big. And then also her being able to gain some of those additional counter from Absorber Man, I think is also big too. So in my opinion, it's not great, but I do think that it's still viable enough to be able to get through the content. We're gonna have to see what sort of the legendary unlock looks like, but I think I'm not like underwhelmed. I'm just more like, okay, well, let's see what happens here. I'm majorly concerned more about the extra max health that they're losing. I think if they were still keeping the max health, I probably would feel okay with some of the lack of damage that they're probably going to have in some of these nodes. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are here. I want to hear from you. Hopefully you find this information to be helpful. Leave a like. Also subscribe to the channel, guys, if you haven't done so already. Hit the notification bell so that you will know when my videos do go live. Otherwise, typically you can miss those. And then also check out the links that are down below in the description. Join my Discord. Join my, look at where I'm at on social media, Instagram, Twitter, things like that as well, guys. But appreciate you watching the video. Until next time, guys, y'all be blessed and y'all be safe.